Let's see the countdown.
We are live, Bob.
Great. Did not see the countdown happen. Thank you. Hi, I'm Bob Brown. I'm the CEO of ProHawk Technology Group. A pleasure to be here today, talking to you all about video enhancement and, more importantly, computer vision restoration. And I think one of the things we're going to focus on today is with computer vision restoration and video enhancement. What are some of the challenges? What are some of the problems that you may run into, and what are the types of applications and ways that solutions can be used to mitigate problems and expose details and information. And clearly, computer vision and AI, deep learning are, impacting a lot of industries across the board, and a major industry, forensics, is being impacted as well. And we'll talk today about how we interpret real world content in environments that are challenging, where video is less than perfect. And some of the customers and partners we work with are various state, local, federal law enforcement agencies, various countries across the globe. And what we find is a lot of data that is out there and a lot of information that needs to be mined, but it's just there's not a lot of visibility due to poor lighting and a lack of lighting, or different types of weather conditions, or a different type of environmental problems. So we're going to talk to you today about a lot of what those challenges are and the different ways that those can be mitigated using products available in the market today. And obviously, ProHawk, we offer solutions in this area. So if we move to the next slide here, we're going to go through some of the challenges and problems in video forensics and forensics analysis, particularly when it comes to images and video content. We're going to talk a little bit about the role of artificial intelligence and computer vision and how it's beginning to get used in the forensics process. We'll talk about overcoming different analysis challenges and problems that you may see or run into the real world. We'll talk about some real live use case examples, cases and problems that have been solved as a result of computer vision restoration and video enhancement. And then we'll talk about some considerations you might want to contemplate about the next time you have some of these issues, are looking for a solution that can resolve some of the problems we're going to go through today. So with that, we'll go forward and let's talk about what are some of those challenges and problems that you might see and that you might run into. Well, the biggest challenge that you run into and that ProHawk resolves for our customers are poor visibility, real world environmental conditions. So there's hundreds of analytics companies focused on training and interpreting data. What ProHawk focuses on is really enabling poor visible imagery to become usable content and leverageable. There's a lot of different factors that come into the equation. Sometimes it's the environment itself that contributes to poor visibility. Other times it's lighting issues or lack of light. It's weather. It's the quality of the sensor. It's obstacles in the environment, and it's particulate matters, sand, dirt, smoke, dust, various types of things suspended in the environment that cause light to be absorbed and scattered. So when we look at poor visibility, here's some example of just poor visibility images here on the left, whether it's fog, headlights, low light, backlight, particles in the air. These can all contribute to giving you poor visibility and poor imagery. So what does poor images and poor data mean? Well, what it imposes is poor forensics analysis, and a lot of times the limitation of AI to operate effectively. So there's lots of real world problems and challenges that we run into out there, whether it's rain, fog, snow, haze, dirt, sand, smoke, sun glare, lighting issues, darkness, variety of factors that really cause and render AI systems to fail and cause human analysis to fail, and causing systems to be blind. And the reality is, whether you're a forensics analyst or your AI, you can't really react to and interpret what you can't see. And a lot of times in forensics, it comes down to a lot of critical details, those little minor details that uniquely identify a person, a place, a thing. So clearly there's a lot of video for people to monitor and for AI systems to use, particularly in the analytics end of things. One of our customers we work with in Ukraine, each case has over 10 terabytes of data associated within the video site. So how do you mine and get through a lot of that content where it is very poor visibility due to snow and poor conditions and lighting? The old saying, garbage in is garbage out. It's the same when it comes to forensics analysis and when it comes to video analytics. So in bad video scenarios, we don't tend to see things, we don't detect objects or properly identify things. We miss a lot of critical details. Sometimes we don't detect things or see them long until after they appear, and as a result, it becomes inconsistent to track things because this accuracy gets compromised, and we miss a lot of critical details and data. So what role can AI and artificial intelligence and computer vision play in the forensics analysis processes, and particularly computer vision and restoration and enhancement? One of our partners that we work with closely is Dell Technologies. They've been kind enough to allow us to share a few of their public slides, which are real top level to show how I think a few critical things fit and where does computer vision and restoration and video enhancement sit in the overall chain and in AI and computer vision. And you can look at on this chart, we really have AI is an overall science which encompasses machines that mimic human intelligence in cognitive functions such as problem solving and learning, and requires specific programming, whereas machine learning, it's a subset of AI that uses algorithms to learn from data that perform tasks without explicit programming, and the math and algorithm is based and requires structured data. Computer vision, which is where ProHawk and computer vision restoration and video enhancement capabilities fall, is a field of AI that deals with enabling machines to understand and process visual information such as images, videos, in order to leverage machine learning and data that needs to be normalized, i.e. be able to make them into structured data. Deep learning really is a subset of machine learning that uses AI, neural nets, and various layers of interconnected nodes to mimic structures of the human brain to be used for complex training. And then generative AI, which has become very popular lately, does have its place as well, which is a branch of deep learning that focuses on new content creation, whether it's images, text, music, based upon existing data and content and what's the most logical and sensible. And in the case of computer vision, it can be used to create more accurate, faster training models, which are areas that ProHawk is also investigating and doing work in. So computer vision, it's really this field in AI that enables the computer to and systems to derive meaningful data and information from digital images and videos and other visual inputs. It allows computers to see, observe, and understand the world around us and around them. By using machine learning and neural networks, computer vision can teach computers to recognize objects, identify defects, make recommendations, and based on that visual information. And that source of data is Wikipedia. So that's just a general overview. And then if we really drill down a little more and we look at this, we have digital evidence and digital forensics. And that's what we're going to really talk about today is some of that digital evidence and some of these digital forensics processing capabilities and ways to get more data and get insight into a little amount of information. And then finally, we'll talk about, the differences between data sources and data analysis and how both of these are required to allow you to get to really comprehensive extraction and review. And if you look at the overall forensics management process and life cycle, this is one that, again, Dell has brought to market and we're a part of, and we subscribe to this model, and we're part of this process. But a lot of you have to deal with all of these different processes and the delivery and handling of content and data and evidence, and be able to manage it properly and be able to produce it for court properly, and have it be viable. So let's now talk about what are some of the challenges that we need to overcome and the different type of problems we'll run into with video and image content. Well, the first thing that we're going to have are lighting challenges. There's several specific problems that ProHawk customers run into the field. The first is that light creates a lot of challenges in video, mainly because it over influences the camera's meters. So it causes a thing called flare, which gives a loss of detail. And of course, the loss of critical detail is significant when you're trying to do forensics analysis and investigation. And some of it's due to the refraction of the lens of the sensor or camera as well. It's all very technical. But what's more important is what can we do to mitigate these effects that we see in the real world? And let's go through just some of these examples here. So we typically in the world, we will find, something like headlights where we've got object coming at us and we've got an extremely bright and extremely dark portions of the frame. And one of the things in these type of use cases we see is obviously, what we're interested in is the license plate here. But because of flare, we're just never going to get that detail. The second issue we run into is intermediate lighting, where the foreground is lit, but things in the background are not lit because of this intermediate lighting type of issue. The other two types of issues we get with lighting are sun glare, which creates a lot of problems, particularly, sunrise, sunset, midday. There's just a big difference in exposure between the ground and the sky at those points in time. And as a result, you get a lot of silhouetting, you get a lot of this type of reaction in the sensor. And then finally, you get backlighting, where the images are overexposed due to brightly lit backgrounds. The sensors are really just trying to capture all the light equally, and this results in brightness of headlights masking the rest of the imagery. So let's look at some of these in some video samples with what a video computer vision restoration AI product can do compared to maybe some video enhancement products. And so on the left is the normal video, on the right is the restored video that we've done. You can see the license plate and read it over there pretty clearly on the right, as well as a lot of other detail up and down the street. And then here's that intermediate lighting issue, where when we zoom in, you're able to see the license plate pretty clearly. And that's a Japanese license plate. This next example of sun glare, where we can't see the details on the left due to silhouetting, whereas the right, we can see much more detail. So you can think of applications like being able to recognize a face or crowd counting. You can see a lot of detail here, the person in the background, details, writings up in the wall. Overexposed problems, again, where people are and details are hard to discern. Another type of problem that we run into when we're trying to get data out of video and image content for forensics analysis is darkness. And in many applications, we've got video running 724, 365. So there's a lot of video that we're able to collect and then go back into the labs and process. As a result, there's a lot of video being processed and a need for night and low light type of settings. So there's lots of challenges and problems that we get with nighttime and low light environments and that they create. Low light basically requires wider aperture and longer exposure times. And it wants to do that in order to let more light in so the sensor can make more sense with the little light that it has to work with. As a result, longer exposure times, you tend to get blurring and unwanted movement in the video. Moreover, when you have a faster shutter speed and a narrowing of that aperture, you can create problems with image noise and oversaturation in the image as well. Another issue, nighttime creates extreme underexposure type of situations, and these end up being due to the camera sensor hitting their limits. In dark imagery, this results in poor visibility. Another challenge is that camera sensors typically have the white balance set to auto, which just doesn't accommodate light temperature variations and changes very well. And then finally, the last thing we get is a lack of light creates noise due to, the much higher ISO levels, and meaning the camera sensitivities level to light is kind of peaking or maxing out. So that leads to, again, a lot of loss in details in the imagery. Again, picture's worth 1,000 words, video's worth a million. Let's just do some left and right comparisons. And these samples, you're going to see some AI technology at work as well, where we're doing detection of people, and we're doing accuracy and counting and those types of things. And you can think of when you have, 8, 10 terabytes of video to mine through, it's handy to have a system that can recognize objects of interest and things where you maybe want to look and not have to sift through hours and hours and hours of content, but be able to get pointed where the objects of interest are. So if we look at, again, the left and right, you can see that we're picking up the person on the right much earlier and on a much higher confidence score. And this is the same video on the left. On the right, ProHawk's vision technology is automatically making those adjustments and doing the AI detection and tracking on that as well. This next sample you can see is a low light situation, two people in a park setting. And of course, on the left, it's just not picking it up at all. And when it does pick it up, the system honestly probably thinks it's a false positive because the confidence is so low, and it just doesn't pick it up other than a couple of hits. And you can see on the right with ProHawk, over 90% confidence score, picking it up the whole time, the entire situation. Again, left and right, difference between the low light, sensor oversaturation, overexposure, and you can see we're picking up the person over there on the right-hand side a lot more reliably. And we can see a lot more details everywhere in the imagery and up and down the path. And again, different, very dark and bright areas where these are, again, being normalized, where we can see all of the type of content that we want to get out of that type of imagery. The next thing we're going to talk about is AI and how it's beginning to affect things. And you can see here's some metrics from some of those sample videos. And, those are pretty different and dramatic metrics when it comes to doing your data mining and being able to automate that process. So let's go on to yet another situation we find in the field, which is particulate matter and the type of effects it has on capturing images and videos. Exactly what are particulates? Why do they affect video? What do they do? Well, they're really a variety of shapes, sizes, and chemical compositions. But what they really do is decrease visibility, and they decrease it because they absorb and scatter the light. And we've all, I think, have experienced a smoggy day where we can't see nearly as far as we're used to seeing. At least I have, growing up in Los Angeles, California. So particulates either come from natural or man-made sources, and they degrade and reduce visibility, and as a result, the more that there are, the more light that gets blocked and scattered. So the result from a standpoint of processing video and images in order to get detail out of it is you get less clarity, less color, less range out of your sensors and cameras. And large particulates tend to scatter data much more quickly. So again, you can see here some images, and there's details in all of these types of pieces of content. And we look at trying to see through what I'd call degraded visual environments, which are smog, dirt, sand, smoke. They're perfect examples of particulate matter. So let's look at some of these examples and demonstrate kind of what they do. And you can see the first example, kind of a transport app trying to see through the haze at a large shipping port to get the details of the name of the ship. Of course, on the left, you can't read it, and that's a unique identifying detail. On the right, you can. Here's a second example. It's agricultural vegetation looking down, and it's a $2 million sensor on the left. And of course, on the right, you can see a lot more detail. This final example is a body-worn camera, which is, again, a lower res camera, but we're capturing a lot more content, a lot more clarity, and able to see the hot spots on the right rather than the left. The final type of obstruction that we find that ends up being challenging is weather and the impacts that it has on the quality of processing it. And there's several types of weather that impacts making video usable, and it's whether it's rain or fog or snow. These are all light particulates. They're absorbing and scattering the light, and that degrades visibility. We lose contrast, we lose detail. So weather happens 7/24, it's all around us. There's no avoiding it. And sometimes we want to get content out of those severe situations. So let's take again a look at the left and right and a few examples of how ProHawk can help some of these weather-related issues. As we progress, the camera begins to zoom, and the snowflakes are stacking up and becoming a challenge, obstructing more and more. We can see on the left not a lot, and on the right we're beginning to see things more clearly as the power lines begin to emerge and the details of the vegetation on the back slope. The second example is a dense fog example. Again, zooming in, the particulates stack up. We're not able to see a lot of details. And on the right, we can see things. On the left, we can't. And as the trends to the left, we're able to see actually somebody standing there on the right and not on the left video. And here, this final example is a rain example. And we see many times there's small objects and handbags and things in degraded environments like that people want to see details in forensics types of capacities in order to make use of the data in order to leverage it in investigations. So the big takeaway here is, it's not just detection and automation, but it's also the ability to detect very small things that many times maybe even the human eye might not detect, but the AI system will. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is some real world use cases. One of our customers on the East Coast is state of Connecticut. Mark Senese up there is a big evangelist of ours, has been a customer of ProHawk And in the first week he started using us, I can share these use cases now. He was able to really find data and content and resolve two different investigations. You can see on the left and on the right, there's the original footage. Not getting it. Whoops. Well, it doesn't look like the video is playing. Well, it doesn't look like the video is playing. So sorry about the technical difficulty there. Not sure what happened. But this was a case of an officer involved investigation, and they couldn't see enough detail in the altercation, and it ended up being a case where they able to justify officer use of force in the case. This was another case that they were involved in. You can see on the left and the right, this was a dash cam video. And what you'll see is the suspect walk across, fire a number of bullets into the windshield, and then toss the rifle into the bushes there and keep on walking. Of course, you can't really see all of that detail on the left. So those were two cases that have been resolved that we were able to help in. Now, some of the other things that I think you'll want to consider when you're looking at forensics investigations and in your day-to-day workload and things to consider is what type of efficiency are you getting out of your systems, your tools, your processes, and how easy to use are the tools? Are they easy to use? What's the level of productivity that you're able to achieve as a result of the tools and the automation? And in the case of the state of Connecticut, Mark was able to realize a very fast return on investment. He didn't have to turn a bunch of knobs. He just ran the video through our system. It just automatically adjusted things to the level of clarity he needed, and it did it automatically. And then what level of AI of detection and tracking do you need? What volume of data do you have to process? How much data do you have to mine? Really equating to whether those tools and automations and AI to sift through large stacks of content is worthwhile and valuable. And then what other things to consider are the coverage of the various types of imagery and video issues that you'll run into, right? Whether it's lighting issues, lack of lighting, absorption issues, particulate issues, low res sensor issues. Those different things are all things to consider when going through your day-to-day workflow and workload. And it looks like I finished a few minutes early. It's probably at least time to stop and see if we've got any Q&A or any questions. So it looks like a question there is, has ProHawk been used on Axiom wearable camera systems footage? And the answer to your question would be yes, it has. As a matter of fact, I think that one video of the smoldering fire area was an Axiom cam footage. Okay, the next question that we have is, one challenge I have is zoning in and being able to read signs, license plates, etc. Can ProHawk help with this type of challenge? And I would say the answer to that is yes. let me see if I could find maybe even a sample for the audience. One of the things that we're able to do is we have a capability in our desktop product, which is our product that is used predominantly for forensics type analysis and usage. And it allows you to magnify a region of interest by 2, 3, 4, 5x. So it's kind of like upscaling, up resolutioning that area, and that capability is used a lot specifically for LPR types of scenarios and conditions. Of course, the network is giving me a little trouble trying to access that example, but maybe what I can do is post some samples or make them available after the seminar to answer some of the questions that people have. Thank you much for the presentation. Can you share a little more about which of your products were used in most of the presentation samples, as well as are these available as part of your monthly subscription model? Most of the samples here were used with our desktop product, ProHawk Vision, which uses the same engine and underlying algorithms, core patented technologies that any product in our product line uses. The ProHawk Vision product is a Windows product that allows you to do video enhancement, computer vision restoration, and AI detection and tracking on files, as well as on a single live camera stream or even a live stream from a VMS. Our other product lines are all built around that same core technology and have similar features and capabilities, whether it's our ProHawk Vision server product that runs on a server and typically integrates with video management systems like Network Optics and Genetec and Milestone. And we have edge device drop-in models into different NVIDIA architectures and stacks like NVIDIA Metropolis and NVIDIA Holoscan. And we do have a subscription model. We have monthly subscription, annual subscription. We also have perpetual licenses. A lot of our customers prefer perpetual models. Some of our customers prefer subscription models. We're amenable to whatever model is most desirable and attractive to our customer. And you'll see that across not just our pricing and packaging models, but also in the way that we listen to our customers and add the new features and capabilities into the product and into the offerings and into the subscriptions. A lot of times we hear I pay for subscriptions, I pay for perpetual licenses, but then nothing, I never get anything new. We're constantly adding new features and capabilities, and all those features and capabilities are driven by our customers specifically saying, hey, I need this. So thank you for asking the question. Great question. Can ProHawk ingest non-standard video formats such as EXEs, which some DVRs create? I don't think so. We typically work with native video and image file formats. So basically industry standard image and file formats. We're not really a repository or an ingestion or an evidence management system. We work alongside in conjunction with a lot of those and are partnered with some of those technology providers. And so when it comes to kind of ingestion on the front end, there's people that, do that, but that's not really where we focus. We really focus on the AI, computer vision, and restoration and AI and detection and tracking. Does ProHawk do anything with audio on footage? Currently today, no, we don't do anything with audio. Great question, though. We've actually been asked again by a couple of customers to do some things with audio, and you may see some things come down the road here in the future. So that's a good question, great question. But today, no, we don't. The next question is, are there any opportunities you all provide to see UI examples for the product? Yeah, I think there probably are. I think one of the things I might be able to do here is, if I can't do that, I can provide it to the group afterwards. And of course I have it in, yeah, so I will make that available as well. The other thing I'll also make available along with the content is a link. So if anybody does want to download it and try it and eval it for 7 days and see the UI yourself and kind of kick the tires, you're welcome to do that as well. But thanks for the question, Keisha. This is from Bob Osgood. Has ProHawk gone under any judicial review, Daubert? Not that I'm aware of. Question from Garrett. Is the price per license? Yeah, the price is per license. One thing that we do have is we do have a concurrent license manager, and a number of our customers in the forensics market want one license, but they want multiple resources, users in the company to access it. So rather than having maybe 4 licenses, one for each user, they want 1 or 2 licenses. And as long as the license is available when somebody needs to use the product or the system, that token's available and they're able to use it. Question from John Nielsen. Greeting, Mr. Nielsen. Can this facilitate multi-angle correlation of an image? This is for shipping, port of entry, security, and safety. So I think if I understand your question properly, interpreted properly, you're asking if you have multiple cameras and you're monitoring something, are you able to correlate detection and tracking across those various sensors? If that's the question, the answer to that is today no, but stay tuned. Question from Garrett again. Do we add any adjustments on our end, or does the AI complete all adjustments on the video photo? Is there a report that is generated? So you can have the system adjust things a number of ways. We do have what we call an auto filter setting, which most of the samples you saw were used with. So that with that auto filter setting, you basically select that filter setting, and our AI will look at every frame of data based upon the noise that we recognize in that frame. We will clarify it with our different patented algorithms to produce what we believe is the best, sharpest image for that particular degraded noise. However, we also have what we call our preset filters. So filters for night or headlights or sun glare or dirt or sand or smoke. And those presets will adjust our algorithms and the parameter, what are called the parameter settings for those algorithms automatically, and pretty much will get you within 98% of the way there where you want to be. In addition to that, we also do allow users to access each control and mechanism in the form of a slider that controls our algorithms. So you can fine tune things yourself if you want. And we've found most of the times that is used in forensics investigations and applications. When it gets down to kind of using our algorithms and those parameters down to that level, other applications with live video, as an example, typically are running with the automated filter setting, which is doing the job that it needs to do to front end analytic systems and basically data being consumed by security operations centers. So that answers the first part of the question, which is, do we add any adjustments on our end, or does the AI complete all adjustments to the video photo? The second question is there a report that is generated? And we've got a report that basically provides the any annotations or labels on a frame or an object on a frame. Again, thinking workflow as far as AI, machine learning, computer vision, as far as how ProHawk and our products and systems are built. And then the next, and so I think that answers that question too, Garrett. Thank you. Question from Javier Scalera. Can we download a demo or a trial? Yes, Javier, I will provide a link to a download where you can download it and install it. And you don't need a license key. Without a license key, it'll default to a 7-day evaluation. And you're free to use it for 7 days. And let us know what you think. Happy to hear any great feedback. Also happy to hear any negative feedback, any ideas, any suggestions, things you'd like to see better, things that you need that aren't in there, criticisms, critiques, whatever you got, we're all ears. Another question from Garrett. Is there a listing of law enforcement agencies using the product that we can contact? I can definitely reference you to Mark Senese over at State of Connecticut Criminal Justice Department. We do have quite a few other agencies that are using our products and services. Mark is the one that we typically use, that we have a open relationship with. I will ask some of the others. I think there's one or two others that I can reference, but I don't want to reference them yet until I'm 100% sure. I always want to make sure I'm respectful of our non-disclosures and our agreements on that front. But we do have quite a few states, quite a few district attorneys' offices, some private, some casinos were used by DHS, USSS, things of that nature. Those are things I can say, but I can't really say anything else outside of that.
I think that's it for questions, Bob.
Okay, great. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to attend and to sit in. And I will follow up and make sure that we get some samples that are available that will give everybody some screen UI shots. We'll give you some of the regional restoration used for LPR. We'll give you some other examples and samples that I can share that are public domain, like the samples from the state of Connecticut, that video. I suspect maybe that's what corrupted the file before the presentation that caused that technical difficulty. But that was the advantage of being early rather than late. But thanks everybody for your time and attention. If you want to get a hold of me, feel free to drop an email to bob@prohawk.ai, and happy to answer any further questions you have directly.